Hey everybody, it's Judy Klock here at Stampin' with Crafty Klock, coming to you today for a quick lesson at lunch. I'm trying to figure out where I need to be so you can have my little head in the show. There we go. That's better. So today I am working on, I'm getting my packages ready to mail out for a January workshop. And I always like to include some kind of little sweet treat. So this time I'm including this little package, which I'm going to show you how to make today. And this will hold 4 Andy's candies. So I figure with Valentine's Day coming up, this is just the perfect little something that you can package up quickly and just kind of leave it on someone's desk. If you're having like a holiday, like a Valentine's Day get together, you could put these on there as, like little table favors or just a little, I was thinking of you type of treat, but they're so quick and they're so easy and it's not going to take much cardstock. So what we're going to need is we're going to need a piece of cardstock that is, let me put these down here so you can see them. Cardstock that is 2.5 by 3 1/8. And we're going to score it at 3/4 on every side. Okay. Then we need a piece of designer series paper that is 2 1/8 by 2 5/8. And we're going to score this at 1/2 inch on each side. Okay. So let's go ahead. That's all we need. And then I'm going to just have a little scrap of basic white. Then I'm going to stamp and I'm going to cut out with our stylish dies, stylish shapes dies. And I'm going to use the go-to greeting set. I'm going to use the little thank you to stamp that. We're going to stamp it in Sweet Sorbet. And I'm using the Country Floral Lane DSP because that is the DSP that we are working with for my January workshop. So you can still register up until Friday. So if you want to register, you'll get the card packs to make 8 cards. You're getting 1/4 of a pack of Country Floral Lane and Gingham DSP, as well as an embellishment and a ribbon. So go ahead and register, and it includes the Zoom, includes postage to send everything to you if you want to come in person. If you're local to the Middletown, Virginia area, I do the workshop on Saturday mornings here from 9 to 11. If not, you can join me virtually via Zoom from 7 to 9 on Friday night. And it's the 3rd Friday of the month, which I believe is like January 20th this month. All right, so let's go ahead and score this. We're going to score this at 3/4 inch all the way around. So I'm just going to do that. Just get all our scoring done. Okay. So again, just 3/4 inch. And it looks like it's going to be really small, but it will fit. Oop. And I'm knocking the camera here. Trust me, it's all going to fit because I had about 12 attempts at this before I finally came up with the right measurements. And for the DSP, it's going to be 1/2 inch all around because we want it to be just a little bit shorter than our box. So I'm just going to do 1/2 inch on all sides. Okay. Now, when you're scoring the DSP, don't press too hard because unlike cardstock, you can actually rip it from scoring if you press too hard. Okay. All right. So that's it. So we've got everything scored. Let me move that out of the way. All right. Now, before I do anything, I want to burnish all of these fold lines. So I'm just going to fold them all up. Okay. And then we're going to do a little bit of cutting and then some gluing. So I'm just going to burnish all of these on both pieces, on both the cardstock and the designer series paper. It's always good to get a nice crisp fold. It makes it, when you're putting it together, especially with boxes, it makes it very easy if you got that nice crisp fold. Okay, now on each piece, on both the designer series paper and on the cardstock, we want to cut along these 2 score lines from the edge up to that horizontal score line on each side. So we're going to do it there and there. And then we're going to miter on this, the smaller piece. We're going to miter that, and that's just to help us when it folds. It will just fold much more nicely. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it around and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to cut along those score lines to the to the horizontal score line. And then we're just going to miter or just kind of trim that corner. Okay, so we're going to do that for both pieces. We've done that on the cardstock, and we're going to do the same thing on the DSP. So again, trimming the vertical lines up onto that horizontal score line. I'm going to come in here and miter my corners. Okay, just kind of pull out that little extra piece. Okay. And by burnishing it too, it helps us to see where that score line is. Sometimes on DSP, it's hard to see where that score line is. So when you burnish it, it just makes it a little bit easier to see that score line. And then we can kind of get to it pretty quickly. All right, so this is, I love when I can take like a simple treat like Andy's Candies and just kind of dress it up a little bit and make it a little extra special for people. I always like to put a sweet treat. Oh my goodness, excuse me. I guess I'm not caught up from New Year's, although I crashed by 9 o'clock on New Year's Eve. So I can't say that I was up late. For sure. I never even seen the ball drop, at least not in the US. Okay, so this one I think is empty. I've got like 3 of them over here, and I always seem to grab the one that's empty. Okay, there we go. This one's full. It's just got stuff on the end. Okay, so I'm just going to put some glue, of course, now, and there it goes, on each of these tabs, and we're going to fold them up. Okay, we're going to make sure that the folded edge meets the edge of the cardstock there. Okay, I'm just going to hold these. Just, you know, it doesn't take long for this liquid glue to set, so I'm just going to hold that, and then I'm just going to repeat it, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. We're going to, but see, by mitering it, those little tabs just lay a little bit nicer when you go to close it up. It's not super bulky. So it's just a good practice to get into, to miter those corners when you're working with boxes. Okay, I'm going to just put that off to the side for now. Come on. Let's make sure. Now, let's add our Andy's Candies. This will hold 4. If I can get them out of the other box. They don't want to come out. There we go. So now I've got my little 4 Andy's Candies, and they're going to fit just perfectly. How perfect is that? A perfect fit. Okay, now let's finish up. We're going to do the same thing on our DSP. We're going to add a little bit of glue to these corner tabs. Just kind of spread out. If you get a big blob, just kind of spread it out. We're going to do the same thing. We're just going to kind of hold it in place till it sets. Same thing on the other corner. Okay, we've got that going. All right. Flip it over. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. I told you this is going to go together so quickly. You are going to be knocking these boxes out like there's no tomorrow. And people are just going to be so impressed and think you spent hours and hours making them when it's probably going to take you about 5 minutes. Okay. So now we've got that. I'm going to go ahead, put my little top on. Now I'm just going to add, I'm going to stamp. I've got my piece of scrap white here, basic white. I'm going to stamp my thank you. Okay, I got sweet sorbet here because that was the bottom, our cardstock for the box bottom was sweet sorbet. And then I'm going to take our stylish shapes dies. And we're going to run it through our stamp, cut, and emboss machine. Okay, and we're going to end up with that. Let me just close my ink pad. I'm going to add some mini dimensionals to the back, just like 2 of them. We don't need many because it's a small little piece that we're working with. And because 2 came off at once, I'm just going to go ahead and put those 3 on there. I'm going to take off my backings. Here we go. I can hear movement is happening upstairs. I think it's time for the dogs to go out. So my husband's going to be on puppy duty. All right. And there we go. Now I had some leftover gems from my paper pumpkin I don't even know what month I was behind on them. So I spent like yesterday putting them all together. And I'm just going to add some of these leftover gems from a paper pumpkin just to add a little bit of bling. So don't throw out your leftover gems from your paper pumpkins. Use them on projects. And that is really it. That is our little box. I need to make some more of these to put in with my January workshop packets. But if you are registered, pretend and be surprised when you get this in your little packet. And if you're not registered, why not? Come on and join the fun. We always have a great time. We're going to make 8 cards, 8 cards, 2 each of 4 designs. This is one of our designs for our January class. It's a workshop. I don't really call it a class. I just call it a workshop because we just really just get together and stamp and have fun. So you can go ahead and register. Check out my Stampin' with Crafty Klock website, stampinwithcraftyclock.com. And there's a couple of posts in there that talk about this class. Go ahead and get registered. And I'll see you all again next time. Bye, everybody.